And I have with me Tina Brooks, and Tina is Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Manager at Berkshire Hathaway Energy, which is comprised of a portfolio of locally managed energy and real estate businesses, including ours, with approximately 24,000 employees operating through the United States, Great Britain, and Canada. And Tina is the proud founder of Beauty, which is BHE's, Berkshire Hathaway Energy's first employee resource group, which formed in 2021 in honor of Juneteenth. And she's going to talk more about Beauty and also tell us a little bit about what the acronym means in a moment. Tina was born and raised in Portland and has over 20 years of experience in the corporate world. And she's extremely passionate about empowering employees and communities, both internally and externally, through education, resources, and partnership. She's going to speak a little bit more about the work she does in celebrating differences at BHE, ensuring that all can thrive in an exclusive and inclusive and equitable environment. And so, Tina, I want to welcome you to the show. I really appreciate you being here. Robin Sinnett. Robin is a member of Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Touchdown Home Pros team. That is a mouthful. And she specializes in serving the North Central West Virginia area. With only a year in the business, Robin has already made a name for herself as she's been able to help so many in the community by providing exceptional customer service and an empathetic and trusted role to many minorities, international buyers, and the LGBTQ+ and trans community. She brings expertise to the job as she herself knows firsthand the significant role an ally played in her life when she purchased her first home. And I can't wait for you to hear her story. So welcome, Robin, to the show. I'm excited to have you as well.
Thank you.
And Jennifer Wilbur. Jennifer is the president of Texas. What a title! For Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices. I wish you were the president of Texas. Hathaway HomeServices premier properties with over 20 years of experience and a passion for growing organizations. Jennifer is positioned for expanding the Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices premier properties brand throughout the state of Texas, which is currently comprised of 20 offices and 575 agents, soon to be more, right? And her role also includes developing and recruiting talented real estate professionals into successful real estate careers. As a former top producing sales associate herself, she knows what it takes to achieve and maintain a successful career and is able to use that experience and love for educating to help others develop a stable foundation to grow their businesses. And I think that is what makes it so special, Jennifer, because you have the real experience that people need in order to be successful. So please welcome Jennifer to the show. And I cannot wait to hear from all of you. So let's get started. So, I always ask, how did you get started in the business you're in? And I know we've got Tina, you're a little different in what you do, but how did you get started in the business and what does your role exactly entail? And so I'll start with Jennifer, Tina, and then Robin.
Okay, thank you. So I got started 23 years, almost 24 years ago, starting this month or last month. And my mom always loved real estate and she encouraged all of her kids. My brother is an agent as well for Berkshire Hathaway and my sister. And it's just like, sometimes you just find your niche. And I think that was my niche, was serving others. And that's what I've always said, whether you're selling a home or finding a buyer a home, that we're serving people. And then it became that I had an opportunity to grow with Linda Warren as my leader and had the opportunity to go into management, which was then I was serving agents. And I think that when you come at it with a servant heart and the good for the others, I mean, there's nothing but success for everyone around you. So it's been a real blessing, I believe, to help others achieve not only the American dream, but to also achieve financial independence in the industry that we're in.
I think that is so true. And Jennifer, was your mom in the real estate business herself?
She wanted to be. I think if times were different, she got her real estate license, but she would drive down the road and be like, I'm going to buy that house. And the next thing I know, we'd be buying a house. And she wasn't so much a good landlord because she had such a soft heart for people. And so I think some people, maybe took advantage of that. She was so kind and soft about stuff like that.
But she was an investor and loved real estate and realized the power of home ownership. And I think that's great because she obviously instilled that in you. And look at where you are today, really kind of leading the growth and expansion. One of the most important states for us because it really kind of serves so many different communities, especially the Latino community for me, because that's where I come from. So
yes.
I really think that's so impressive. How about you, Tina? Tell me a little bit about your background.
Hello, thank you so much, Teresa. First and foremost, so happy, thank you, to be here. It's hard to tell my background and not have a little bit of humility behind it. Ironically enough, is that I sit here today. I started in the corporate world at the age of 18, and I was a real estate agent and ended up losing that job we won't go into that story, but I lost that job. And embarrassingly enough, I had trouble paying my bill. So I called the utility company and I said, yeah, I just lost my job working in real estate. I need help paying my bill. And the representative helped me to keep my dignity with that call. And with that call, I said, I wish you all were hiring. And the lady says, as a matter of fact, we are. And I came in, put an application, got the job. So I fell into my career working in customer care as a representative. And a year later, found myself supervising for customer care. And through that career is where I started finding that my peers were moving and elevating way past me. And I'm looking back and I'm like, why am I staying in the same spot? What's happening? I still did not know. But I found myself getting a little angry and curious about why am I staying here? But all my peers that came in with me on this trajectory, they're all moving ahead. And so I'm like, I have to find out these answers. And so I started to put myself in very uncomfortable positions by joining like anything that was voluntary within the organization, such as our ERG groups, our women's groups, just so I can get in the doors and listen to what's happening within our organization. And as time continued to grow, I would grow, but without elevation. And with that, I just continued to say, I need to use whatever platform I can to make a difference. So I was speaking to my supervisor in customer care, and I'm like, I know that I'm managing these employees, but this isn't enough for me. I don't like managing. And the reason I don't like managing, because I feel like if you have to be managed, you probably shouldn't be here. And so I told her, this isn't working. I felt like a plant in too small of a pot, like I was sprouting and had no room to grow. And she took a chance on me and she allowed me, she goes, well, you use this platform, because it was the training, I should say that. It was training customer care. So the new employees that were coming in, and she's like, it's okay to use this platform to do as you please. And what I wanted to do was teach folks to be accountable and how to have confidence. And so I started these trainings, and I would train and facilitate these trainings. I would create these trainings. And I saw that lifting, and everyone would come back and say how much they've learned. And from there, I just started to grow, but still was not elevating. I stayed in the same career and I couldn't figure it out why. And it wasn't until the chief diversity officer of Berkshire Hathaway Energy, Darla Zink, saw me in the PAC Women's Employee Resource Group and grabbed me and said, you would be a great candidate for DEI. And then I landed that role. There's a lot of story in between that story, but to sum it up, I fell into my career, and that's why I'm here today.
I love that. And there's several things out there I think our audience can take away from what you just said. Number one, you didn't give up, and you actually realized, hey, I really maybe need to expand my own, network and really kind of connect with other groups so I can learn, right? What does it take but even then you were still not being elevated. But it took one person, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And we all love Darla. Darla, big shout out to you, because she really has empowered and made such an impact within our organization. She's only been there 2 years, right? Maybe 3. And she really has changed the trajectory of the energy business and the business that we are in, because she sees us. And I think that's the biggest key that we all need to take away. And Robin, I want to hear your story. It's amazing. And so glad that you're here with us today. So tell me a little bit, what took you into being a homeowner, right? Going through the process of buying a house to realizing this is what I want to do for my life.
I pretty much, it was, I bought a home and now here I am. We went into the market in 2020 and had an experience with a realtor that said they were LGBT friendly, and they were giving us less than the best. So we found my current broker, Lindsay Williams, and she was so great with us that I absolutely fell in love with the process. And I wanted to share that excitement and be able to be the same person for them that she was for us, because home buying alone is, scary, confusing, overwhelming, exciting. You just run the gamut of things, but having someone that you can approach and talk to and is going to be there for you and with you through the whole process was very important to me. And seeing that lack of, I talk about, you can be LGBTQIA plus friendly, or you can be an ally. Seeing that lack of allies in the space really made me want to put myself out there and kind of be that ally for them. Between the ages of 22 and 72, 49% of the LGBTQIA are homeowners versus 65% of heterosexual cisgender couples. 3 in 5 trans women or trans people have faced discrimination. 50% of trans people rent versus 28% of cis people. So being able to help bridge that gap and kind of get them that equity and equality and be able to have their slice of the American dream, that's why I do what I do.
And Robin, I love that. I love that you shared, the process and how the difference of somebody who didn't just say they could help you, but really went beyond and above that and made true the comment of what an ally is. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Really kind of change your whole perspective, and where you found acceptance and also the opportunity to really kind of inspire others. So I really want to thank you for that. So each of you is very unique in this series. I always invite people, and I kind of think about the topic, and I named the episode Extraordinary Leaders. And I want to talk about that because you all are extraordinary and how that applies to each of you. And Tina, I want to talk to you first. You're the founder of Berkshire Hathaway Energy's first, well, it's not the first employee resource group because you had the veterans group and all that, but it was the first really minority focused group. Is that correct to state? Beauty. And so tell me about, number one, the acronym. What does it mean? Because I love the acronym. Number two, this week we're all going to get together in honor of Juneteenth. We're actually traveling to Portland to have a huge event with the Professional Resource Group Summit and in your hometown, right? And so tell me what the work that the ERGs have accomplished about that, and what it's especially, what it means to you since you've now taken on a bigger role in our organization.
We mentioned earlier Darla Zink, and like you said, she's our Chief Diversity Officer, and she's only been there 2 years. I've been with the organization for a little over 23 years, and during that time, we never even spoke of race or gender or pay equity. All those conversations were very hush-hush. So Darla comes along and she brings up this strategy for employee resource groups. And I'm quite surprised that we never had an employee resource group that was focused on race, but we did not. The first one, yes, was our LGBTQ group, which is strong. So they're a year advanced over beauty. And then beauty came along, our Black employee resource group. Now beauty stands for Black employees and their allies united to inspire equity. Um, and we're doing just that. We're bringing our allies in. We're uniting together as for this professional development summit, bringing in all of our ERGs and all of our employees affiliated with Berkshire Hathaway Energy. And so the ERGs that we have now are our LGBTQ, our Black Employee Resource Group, our Latina, Latinx group, as well as our Asian and Pacific Islander group. So we have 4 ERGs of the affinity, and we'll bring all these ERGs together with our allies for this summit that we're going to have in Portland, Oregon. Since we've been founded for, I think, about 2 years now, there have been so many accomplishments. We are having those deep conversations and forming safe spaces in order to do so. So we have monthly meetings. In our monthly meetings, all employees are invited to these meetings, and this is where we talk about topics that we have been afraid to talk about for years: meritocracy, code switching, all of these conversations that are taboo in the corporate world, we're bringing to the light. And what we're doing really is trying to, and I won't say we, but it's not just having a seat at the table. Those folks that have a seat at the table, you know, we've been knocking on the doors to get in and have a seat and have our voices heard. Well, this is a way where we can invite them to our table. So we can invite the C-suite, the dominant group, come to our table and let's look at what we have to offer. And that is our purpose, really, of having our C-suite involved in what's going on and be aware of what's happening with our employees for Berkshire Hathaway Energy. And how can we help start building gaps and build bridges? How can we do that? Lots of accomplishments. We bring in public speaking that focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And now we're going as far as to go out into the community and build relationships with college students and help provide scholarships for them, as well as preparing them for what to expect in the corporate world. So there's a lot of movement. I could go on forever and ever, but our biggest success is going to be this professional development summit. They had one last year for the LGBTQ. It was such a success that Darla decided to merge all the groups together this year in celebration of Juneteenth. And we are excited about Juneteenth. It is the celebration, the anniversary of Black folks being free from slavery. So this is a huge deal, and to have our allies stand behind us and support us, we're excited. And right now we have almost over 300 folks that are going to be part of this celebration.
And it's such an impressive group, as well as the fact that you have been able to establish, and I like the way you posed that, you know, CEOs come to our table, learn about us, really understand what we need, but more importantly, really understand the impact that we are making, and also that we have for you in a financial side as well, because this is really important for the community. It's important for the young workforce that is that's already accepting, and they really want to see DE&I as part of your organization. And Jennifer, you have a huge role, and I think it's really important because of the fact that, you know, there's so much, right? You know, there's so much that's happening, especially as discrimination. We talked about it a little bit a while ago on the current state of what's happening in that area. So how, you know, your role is so critical. You know, tell me a little bit about how that has affected or impacted you, and what, you know, what your background also lends to helping and inspire others.
You know, thank you. I so appreciate that. And, you know, I can't say that, you know, I personally encounter this on a daily or yearly. You know, have we felt it? Yes. You know, just how you're having the event at convention, and I just went around and gathered, hey, come see Teresa. She's having this incredible party, happy hour event, not even taking into account whether they were gay, straight, Hispanic, African, you know, Black, whatever. And I just took everybody and anybody because, you know, the truth be told, I'm colorblind. So I just we're all as one. And so, I'm about bringing the people together, and that I try not to look at things, not through rose-colored glasses, but I try to look at us as individuals that we're in one sense or another, we're all brothers and sisters. And so that's always been the take that I have on this. And there have been times that I have maybe felt discriminated, but I do my best not to give it energy because it doesn't deserve my energy. And so, that's really how I've always looked at that, is that we are all one. And so I don't know if that really answers your question.
No, it does. And I think it really does help, because sometimes you get into that backlash of the blah, 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 and that doesn't help. Really, I think it's really critical that we all are kind to each other and we start there, right? And that's how you avoid that back and forth, right? And thank you so much for mentioning. We did have an event at Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices
Yes.
Conference. It is our DE&I reception that we hold every year, and it's the best and funnest party at convention, because we bring all of our groups together and really have just interchange and networking and really get to know each other better. So again, a lot of fun, and I love that you brought such a big team from your company as well.
They've actually been getting referrals from all of us interacting as
exactly.
one, and
exactly.
They got real estate transactions from it. So I was very happy about that.
And I love for you to share that story, right? Yeah. How much business this really does create for us because we're working together. So I think this one's important, and I think it's really, something that sometimes we don't realize, but it does affect us. So how has your intersectionality affected how you work with others, and what challenges has that posed, if any? And I'll start with you, Tina.
It's a great question. Thank you, Teresa. And in my earlier career, I didn't understand intersectionality. What I did see and what I understood is there was no representation, anyone that looked like me. And I always believe, and you've all heard it, if you can see it, you can be it. And one of the things I did see was one Black woman that was she was a regional business manager. And I saw that early in my career. And I'm like, that's what I want to be, that's what I want to be. And I looked up to it, and I strived for 15, 20 years to make my trajectory go that way. But were those biases that held me back. Now I can see that. Back then I didn't know what it was, right? And so when I think of my intersectionality, being Black first and foremost, a woman second, and in the corporate world, I have a responsibility for others to do all I can as a leader to show folks, if you can see it, you can be it. So they don't have to go through, and we've got a lot of work to do, but they don't have to go through the microaggressions and the health issues that go with that, who land and thrive in their career. I think it's so unfortunate that we lack the representation of all of our affinity groups. You would be surprised how stressful and how that can take away a person's confidence in their trajectory in their career. So as a corporation, really, you lose because you're not going to get your best from your employees. So I would say how it's changed me and what it means is that I am making sure that I am leading and putting my face out there in uncomfortable situations and being a voice when I can be a voice for those that don't have a voice.
I think that's amazing. And I think it's so powerful because it's so true, to see someone else in a role that you want to now aspire to, but then you have taken away those roadblocks because you're saying, you know what, it's not going to be what it was for me, for you. We're going to change that. And I love that. Robin, how about you?
For me, as a trans woman, I have personal reasons that I've not legally changed my name yet. And that almost prevented me from becoming a realtor because I didn't want to put that dead name, which is the name that I no longer use, out on my advertising and my marketing. And I addressed that concern with my broker, and she went to bat for me with the West Virginia Real Estate Commission and said, you know, what can we do about the situation? And they said, well, she has to have her name as it appears on her license. And she said, well, so and so goes by, we'll say Betty, and that's a nickname, and that's on their marketing. So there's no reason that she can't use her chosen name. And they let us do it. So that really helped me moving forward as well. But now that I'm in the role that I'm in, I find myself, like everyday interactions, West Virginia is very conservative. So I'm always very cautious whenever I first meet someone new, whether it's a client, whether it's someone that I'm going to work with on a professional level. I tend to reserve and dial back a little bit more until I learn that I can trust them. And I'm always looking for those signs that they're a friend, they're an ally, that I'm going to be okay, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, interacting with them. And if I don't feel like I am, I walk away.
Well, I think that takes so much courage and so much power to be able to do what you're doing and to be such an outspoken advocate, because I know that certainly you really have a lot to work with, to work towards in a state that really, you're coming out. I mean, people don't realize it's not just one time, like, how are they going to, address me? Are they going to be friendly? Are they going to be mean? Are they going to harass? I mean, all those things that are really important that people face every day. And I think that's something that, we're not aware of. And I think it's really important that you say that so that people understand, and why an ally is such a critical person to really help you through processes that, like you said, your broker said, wait a minute, why not? Why can't we, so-and-so markets herself this way. So why can't we, can Robin use the same, scenario as well? And she went for bat to you. And that's what you have to have, an advocate, right? To help you as well. And Jennifer, I don't want to leave you out.
Oh, no, I'm so glad that Robin said that, because I remember when I first got into real estate, I didn't want to not make it because I was gay. So I just didn't talk about it. And I remember not really trying to be straight, or because I had been gay pretty much my whole entire life. And so I'm like, I just didn't talk about it. And then people started trying to set me up with their sons. And I'm like, oh my God, no. And I'm like, I don't play on y'all's team. Because I am not straight. I won't even pretend to go on a date. And, talk about being uncomfortable is to have been a lesbian your whole entire life. And then for a brief moment, try to live a straight lifestyle so that you can fit in. And I remember when my mother passed, I got my license on May the 31st, and I went to work for this amazing lady, Marilyn Birch. She's like a mother to me. And so my mom passed away that October. And I went in to quit. I was like, I don't want to do this. This is my mom's dream. I don't really want to do this. And I go, and by the way, I'm gay. And she goes, no, you can do it. You can do it. I'll help you. I go, did the gay thing go right over your head? She goes, no, I got that a long time ago. So it was nothing to ever be ashamed of, but I felt like I was in for the first time in my life, a very straight world. And so thinking that I wouldn't make it, for a brief, not that I ever felt confused whether to be straight or gay, but I can see that feeling of people feeling like they really need to fit in.
Oh, and it's so common and for so many, and I think we have advanced in a good way, but we're still taking strides also in other areas as well. So, I mean, we get backlash, and also people that are not comfortable. And you know what? this is who you are, and God made you that unique, and that's, hey, I'm unique, and that's what's my strength and my superpower. I truly believe that is your superpower. And so tell me all, anybody wants to answer this, what have you done that has totally taken you out of your comfort zone, but it has made you stronger? And where did it lead you? And I know yours, Tina, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but how about anyone else? And you can add on to that if you want to too as well.
Very much this today, doing this. You know, I was very much the same. You know, I just celebrated a year as an agent on Thursday, and to think that I would be doing this on a platform where, you know, past and future clients can see that may not already know, and as well as people that I'm going to be dealing with in the future, hopefully, would have terrified me. And I don't think I would have been able to sit here and do this a year ago. So what I'm hoping is that it lets me give myself the confidence to be a little more visible and not dim my own light to try to please others, but also maybe some of the people that may not have already known, maybe it kind of gives them a window into, you know, trans people are just people too.
And your light is so bright, there's no way you can dim it anyway. So Robin, I just have to tell you that. So anyone else? All right, well, let's move on. What stands out as your key to the success that you've had? Like, and what are some of your biggest challenges during your journey? Like, you know, tell me, give me, you know, send me specific examples as well. And I'll start with you, Jennifer.
No, thank you. And, you know, I think, well, obviously, you know, leaving a company that you've been with for 23 years, and I don't know that you can say being comfortable, because, you know, our industry is ever changing, but knowing that it was safe. But I always had the opportunity to grow. And I believe that, you know, that there's something inside of you, and you can't always put your finger on it, but you always know that there's something more that, and Tina talked about it, about the growth, and that she wanted more. And I think that for so long that I have been blessed my whole entire life with strong, powerful women, very educated, who have touched me all along the way. And I think there's that saying, surround yourself with really smart people. And I have truly, when I count my blessings, I know that I have been touched, and I am continually touched by strong, powerful women who have guided me and encouraged me when times were really tough. And, you know, was after 23 years of not being able to, I've had many blessings at my prior company, but not being able to grow where I was, I knew I needed to move on. And that in itself is scary. Change, that kind of change is scary, which, you know, the change would always affect my wife, because my wife worked not only in the same company, but in my office. Oh. And so, but I knew that it's almost like somebody sucking the life out of you by just staying, you know, where you are. I felt like I was dying inside. And so blessed to have been given the opportunity by Stacy and Tracy to help them grow their company. And I feel so incredibly blessed every day. I was telling Tracy this morning the gratitude that I feel from them by having this opportunity, not only to be trusted, but to believe in each other, that we can do something greater for everyone, like everyone along the way. And this to me is the beautiful part, is everybody along the way gets to benefit from the journey. Is, you know, some people aren't always going to like you. And some people are going to not like you because you're moving their cheese. But at the end of the day, I hope that everyone looks back and realizes that we're doing it for the greater, so the agent can have more, and that they can have more abundance and more money and more, whatever their why is, we can help them achieve that, as well as the managers and everyone that we touch along the way, that they can have more of an abundance of whatever it is they want. And I'm a firm believer. A wise lady once told me, I believe you told me you knew her, Kate Rossi, once told me you have to have a why. And I told you last week, what is my why? And those are the two beautiful women that I live with, my wife and our beautiful, beautiful daughter, Olivia. And I can almost get emotional about it because I'm so passionate about giving Olivia a better life, giving Raylyn a better life, and everything that I feel that she deserves. I can almost get emotional about it because,
well,
I'm
you
just
know,
really
one thing that you
passionate
said,
about it.
you know, Jennifer, so true. And, you know, the fact that when you know the why,
Yeah.
when you know your why,
Yep.
the how, it's so easy. It becomes
Yep.
so easy because you are able to help and inspire others. And I love that what
Yep.
you said, because I think this is what holds a lot of us back. A lot of you out there is that you are in a comfortable zone. You may be the best in your company. You know what you're doing. You are so comfortable. Everyone comes to you, and you're scared to lose that by going to a different role where you're not going to be that expert because you got to get there, right?
Mhm. Exactly.
You know, Tina, how about you?
Oh man, I wish we had longer to
I
really
know.
speak in this conversation. Jennifer, you hit on so much of the trainings that I would give to these customer care representatives that I'm personally proud of. Now, the thing of it is, no one got to see that work. You know, management didn't see that work, but I knew that it was making a difference with these employees. And you hit it. Once you know your why, because without the why, you're just going to be going in circles. And that's what I would train on: knowing your why, having integrity, and what's the intention behind it. And I stole all those learnings from Oprah, believe it or not, Oprah Winfrey, because
Love her.
I didn't have representation in the workplace. Now my mother gave me my strength to endure the microaggressions and everything that I went through in my career of biases. That was because of my mother never giving up, the resistance. I meant the tenacity to snap back and be okay. But as far as being in this corporate world, it really was understanding my why. And that's the training that I tried to develop for these agents. But really, once you have that, then what's your intention behind it? Why do you do what you do? And Jennifer, you were alluding to that, because I sleep well at night, because what I do sitting on these panels, speaking to people, shaking to death and being nervous, it's not for me, because I could be alone and do what I need to do. It's for those that do not have voices and are not able to speak out. And that intention, when you know that you're doing something for service, you cannot lose.
You
And that
can.
is my why. I want to serve others, no matter what it is, even spiritually. If it's my spiritual obligations, my career obligations, and absolutely my family, it's about serving others, because I truly believe you get more when you give. And so that's really, I think, what I would say has been my inspiration to guide me throughout my career. And the challenges are really nothing more than biases from the dominant group. And we just bust through those and we keep continuing. And even though we're shaking in our boots, we do it together with allies, and we stand strong and we stand together. Teresa, I'm so excited to hear HomeServices standing with beauty, you know, on Juneteenth. You don't have to do that. You're doing that as support. And that is what it's about: being together, making it work, making it happen, knowing that there's always going to be these resistors and the biases. But if we stand strong, we can tune out that
We can
noise and
overcome anything. We really can.
overcome
Yeah.
anything. Yeah, with
Uh,
intention.
Yes. Robin, how about you? What has taken you, outside of that comfort zone, but you were better for it?
Just showing up and putting myself out there, really. I mean, like I said, it's a very, very conservative state here, and we're constantly legislating against the LGBTQIA community. And some of these laws are getting passed here and other places as well. So I think the biggest part of everything, and everyone has touched on it beautifully, know that why. And my why is, people need to see someone like them out there doing what we do.
And I think empowering homeownership, which you all know, being it's homeownership month, is probably for me one of the biggest things that we can do because it made a huge impact in my life. I attribute where I am today because of my father's decision to purchase that first home. And then from there, building that equity and moving on to the next, and surrounding myself every time with people that didn't ask the questions of, hey, are you going to college? Because I was surrounded by communities that said, hey, where are you going to college? Look at the difference that one word made for me. Not am I going to college, but where am I going to college? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to college. I need to think of where I'm going to go. So it was the impact of that positive change, right, in words, because inclusive language makes that big difference for all of us. That really makes an impact. So we're almost getting there at time, but I got a couple more questions. So this one's really critical because I think it's all about accomplishments, whether it's professional, personal. And Tina, what to you was the one thing that you felt like was your biggest accomplishment so far? You thought, wow, this is unbelievable. I just want to share it with everyone.
That's a tough question. One, and this sounds like it's scripted, but it's not. Teresa, I would have to say one of my biggest accomplishments are sitting here with you all today.
Oh,
And that sounds like, no, she's just saying it, but it is. And I'm not speaking of my family and my kids. I've raised 5 beautiful children, 5 grandkids, a husband. That's a different world that I'm speaking of. But I would say my biggest accomplishment is sitting here with you ladies today. When I started my career, I always wanted to be recognized as a leader. And you don't hear that a lot. And not saying this because I'm a Black woman. I'm not saying anything but I can tell you all the work, sweat, and tears that I put in. I would hear it from frontline employees, 100%. I would get the emails. I would get, Tina, your trainings really made it. You would get that. But the frontline employees cannot elevate you. It is the C-suite, it is the people in the room, the people with the pen. And elevation is not just for you, it's so you can bring others and bring a different voice to the table as a Black person, Black woman. And I never heard that, Teresa, until again, Darlazine, and you bringing me to this platform. So truly, being able to speak on your platform is an honor, and it is one of my biggest accomplishments.
Oh, I'm just you're tearing me, making me tear up, because I really, honestly, have always seen you that way. I mean, the minute I met you. So I just want to tell you that, and I think that is so true. It's the powerful that are able to elevate us. And so we have to get to the powerful so we can become powerful and elevate others. Robin, how about you?
Transitioning, becoming who I am. Before I couldn't face the outside world. I couldn't focus to drive myself and better myself in ways beyond my physical self. So becoming the woman that I always knew I was gave me that confidence to be able to go, okay, I've done this. Now I can do pretty much anything I set my mind to.
You can conquer the world, Robin. You feel like your genuine self. Jennifer, how about you?
I don't want to copy Tina, but I truly I think I reached out to you and told you, we had a conversation about, what an honor it was to be part of this and part of women who lead and learning from other women such as yourself. Like I remember the first time I met you at convention, Stacy was just like dragging me. We have to find her. You got to meet her. And what a pleasure it was to meet you at convention and just being part of a platform that is way bigger than I ever thought of. Is just an opportunity to touch so many other people that you too can do this. And people always say, well, how did you get here? And a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and dedication to knowing what you want. Tina talked about it earlier about keeping your eye on the prize, but I think that it circles back to being part of your platform and being a guest here today. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. It really does mean a lot to me. And I feel like that's what this platform's all about, because people need to see each of you so that they can see themselves, like Tina said, right? So you can see yourselves. Look at all these wonderful women that are on here today, and you can be there as well. I think one thing that you mentioned that I think is really important, we all have talked about mentorship and the part that has played. For me, I know it's been really critical, but what part of that has, why has that been important for all of you? And more specifically, how has that perhaps, what are things that we can do beyond mentorship? Because I think, and I'm going to go to you, Tina, for this question, because I think you indicated it wasn't just mentorship that made the biggest impact for you.
Right, Teresa. Mentorship, by far, you need mentorship. We all need mentorship. I will never say that. And it was the mentorship that helped me to see things in the corporate world. So that mentorship was there to give me guidance. I don't know if you recall, but earlier when I mentioned my supervisor allowed me to use my platform in any way I could. She was a mentor, great mentor. Her name is Kim Leverage. I want to put her name out there in case she's watching. And she took a chance on me because the one thing about a mentor, if you're going to find a mentor, usually doesn't find you. You're going to have to go and seek who you want to be your mentor. And I was looking for someone with integrity because that meant everything to me. Integrity and someone that had a voice and had the skill. And she was it. And so I was nervous, but I went in to talk to her to say, can you mentor me? Because this is what I want to do in the corporate world. And she took me on, but she could only get me so far. Now, why? I don't know. I'm still going to talk about biases here a little bit, meritocracy, years, 2 decades, she and I side by side. But that's 2 decades of mentorship and seeing all my peers, again, elevating into director roles and other roles within the organization. What's happening? And I didn't know. But again, it wasn't until Chief Diversity Officer Darla Zink pulled me out of that, and that's called sponsorship. Sponsorship is different because these are the people with the power that are in the rooms that can talk about your name and help people to see more than just your skills, see you as a person and block out those biases. So sponsorship really was my key to elevation. Mentorship gave me my skill.
Oh, I think that's great. Robin or Jennifer, anybody else want to pipe in? Or
Robin?
I mean, I think that I've sang the praises of Lindsay so much, and I can't.
I've got to meet Lindsay. I don't think I've had a chance to meet her, so I'm going to reach out to her to just thank her.
She is such a phenomenal woman. Single mom, cancer survivor, like just all around amazing woman. And, it goes beyond mentorship for her because, she's also a friend. She's also a shoulder to lean on. She's also there to cheer you on and celebrate your victories. And I think that's important.
It is to celebrate your advancement. And I think that's the biggest thing. Sometimes you don't always see that. And Jennifer, how about you?
I so agree with this. I think the mentorship about having someone who, and I believe isn't there the saying that it's a season, it's a reason and a lifetime. I believe that people come in along the way to take you from here to here to here. And I will forever be indebted to Marilyn Burke, who was my very first manager, just like Robin talks about. Linda Warren is the one who gave me an opportunity, and there's so many women, but if we're picking women who have held us accountable on a daily or weekly basis, these women, and Helen Edwards. I mean, Helen Edwards is probably sometimes harder on me, but I can always count that she has my number one, best interest at heart, and that she has coached me, mentored me. I am forever. We have a saying: if you have an emergency, call these people. There are 911s. They're in my phone as ice because they're my 911s. And so I love that. It sounds like that all of us have had other women empower us. Not that men haven't touched my life, because I have definitely had some men truly touch my life that are forever branded on me, but that women have guided us and led us to do bigger and better things to push us along the way. And I love that it's all of us.
And Jennifer, I have to also add, and I totally agree, but I also think that women are really good at mentorship, specifically with what you said, Tina. But I think men are really good at sponsorship. They actually elevate you in general. So you have, especially if they're in powerful positions, because it was Gino, our CEO, Blafari, who actually saw me at where I was and actually said, honey, you're coming up here with me. And that's what really made, so shout out to Gino, because he is my all-go mentor that I actually have to say really has taken not just to, but to elevate. It's all about elevation, which is why I said, I'm not going to just mentor, I'm elevating. That's the difference we have to do. So we're almost I'm going to ask a couple of just real quick questions, because I think it's all about improving ourselves. And, is there a book, anything that you would recommend that, you would like to pass on to our audience that says, hey, I love this book or this training course because it really helped me and it can help others as well. So I'll start with you, Jennifer.
I love a feel-good book, and a very dear friend of mine bought it for me. The Energy Bus is to having the right people on your bus and around you. And, I love that book. I've actually read it probably 3 times, just because I feel like when you get off, you got to get back on. And so I tend to always go back to that book.
I love the Energy Bus. Great read, and a big one for Gino too. Robin, how about you?
Cliche, but ninja selling, subtle skills, big results.
That is something a lot of people love. And guess what? I've not read it yet. So I have to.
It's amazing.
I have heard that from and Ninja Leadership is another one that gets mentioned a lot. And I know you, Tina, are going to be outside of our space, because these are all kind of, except for the Energy Bus. What's something you recommend, training or book?
Thank you, Teresa. I'll be honest, I listen to a lot of motivational speakers, and that's what's helped me. And again, I can't say it enough. I've listened to all of Oprah Winfrey's speeches at the HBCUs, where she talks about intentions and knowing your why, and that's where it's embedded and fibered in me. And one of my favorite motivational speakers, because even though you know your why and you have all that, you have to have confidence to speak. And so the motivational speaker that I like best is Lisa Nichols, and she teaches about abundance and getting your confidence ready and how to do a quick elevator speech. So
God, Tina,
Lisa
you
Nichols
and
is
I
amazing.
are just like hand in hand. First of all, Oprah's from Mississippi. That's where I grew up and I was raised. And so I loved Oprah from the very get-go. And I actually met her when I was worked at ABC television. And
What?
so, so phenomenal. And then I also love the name
Lisa Nichols.
Lisa. Oh my God,
Yeah,
love
yeah, yeah,
Lisa.
yeah.
Her story of how she came out and how she had to so if y'all haven't seen Lisa Nichols, she's amazing. I mean, just a powerful, powerful motivation speaker. And I actually watch her when I need to get on stage so I can get that, right. Say yes, 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 yes,
Yes,
right.
yes, yes.
Right. So here as we end, tell me a little bit about your favorite affirmation or a quote that really has made a significant impact for you that kind of you hold at your desk or something that really, because I like to end always in a positive side. And I'll start with you, Robin.
Everywhere in my life, this quote hangs, and it's "Be the change you want to be to see in the world" by Mahatma Gandhi.
It's beautiful. One of my favorite quotes. Tina?
Okay, so there's, I have to do it really quick. One is the Oprah Winfrey. People will, Maya
Yep.
Angelou. I
Yes.
apologize.
Yes.
People may forget what you said, but they won't forget how you made them feel. But one of my newest quotes are from Martin Luther King, and it's "Use me, God. Show me how to take who I am, who I want to be, and what I can do, and use it for a purpose greater than myself." And that is my new favorite quote.
I love that. That is a great, great quote. And nobody's ever used that one on the show yet. And then Jennifer, how about you? Take us home.
I love the one, nobody cares how much you know until they know that you care. And I believe Floyd Whitman came up with that. I'm not sure, but I love that because it's so true. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter who you know. Nobody cares. It's all about how you make people feel. So.
And it's all along the lines of Maya Angelou's quote. It's really how you impact someone else. And you don't ever realize the way you said something or how you did something and how people come up to me all the time and say, "Teresa, you said this and I did it. And what a difference it made in my life." And, and I'm like, really? Gosh, that makes me feel so good. I was talking to Karen Kane, who's and I shout out to Karen, who has called me over the weekend and said, "You told me to join boards because I want to elevate her so that she's got so much talent and she should be on boards." Right. And I said, and I did it. And Teresa, what a huge impact it's made in my life. And so I really, you just never know how this show has touched somebody in a way that has inspired them to move on to that leadership opportunity that they sat on, that they didn't want to do because they were too scared. And that's what makes this show so wonderful. And that's what makes all of you so very special. And I really want to thank you for, allowing me to meet with you. And it's been such a great honor. And to thank you for all that you're doing to promote DE&I in our organizations. It really has made such a huge difference. And you can see it already. And I found this great quote that describes, I think, each of you, and I love it. To handle yourself, use your head. To handle others, use your heart. Imagine if we all did this, right? How we could change the world. Mm-hmm. And I love that. That's by Eleanor Roosevelt, who was such a huge, just way beyond her days, right? On the work that she did to inspire so many. I really want to thank all of you for participating on this panel today. I so enjoyed getting to know each of you, our conversations together with our cafecitos. And I want to thank you for sharing your experiences. I know that's been, can be very difficult. And please join us We are going to have another great show on July 12th. We're going to zoom in on another team of great leaders. I want to thank all of you for joining us to watch the show. Don't forget to listen to our podcast. So this will become a podcast in the next 2 weeks, and you'll be able to hear it as you drive to and from. Also, share our Facebook page.